In today's video I'm going to do something that I've been wanting to do for a very long time, and that is to set up an aquascape with just cryptocorynes. Some hardscape, some substrate as well, but the plants will be just crypts. I absolutely love crypts and they're also one of the easiest plants to grow. Plus there's so many different varieties, so I'm sure we can set up an aquascape with just those plants. Yeah, I'm excited. Let's get started. So I'm in the process of making some changes to this side of the room. Originally I had two of these Oasis Thailand sets next to each other, but I recently got rid of one. There's nothing really wrong with it, but to be honest with you guys, I just prefer rimless tanks. So today we're going to make a new setup completely from scratch. So the first thing we need is a cabinet. Okay, maybe not entirely from scratch. I already built a stand a couple of days ago. I didn't want to bore you guys with watching me put together a flat pack cabinet. So the stand is ready. This one is from a Jewel Lido 200. Now these Jewel tanks and cabinets are very popular here in the Netherlands. So you can pick these up in any pet shop. So they're very affordable. The only modification I did is the little shelf here, because they only offer you options to put the shelf directly in the center of the cabinet. But of course I want to have a canister filter here. I want to have a CO2 system here. So I had to raise the shelf a little bit. Yeah, that's it. Next thing we need is a tank, of course. So the tank for today's project is the beautiful UNS60U. You guys know that I love UNS tanks. I've been using them for a while. And a couple of weeks ago I got a message from UNS saying that they kind of want to support the channel and if they could send me a few more tanks. Of course I couldn't say no to that. So they've sent me a UNS60U and a bunch of other tanks as well. So there's many more projects coming up. Today we're setting up the biggest one. So this one is measuring 60 centimeters from left to right. It's 36 centimeters high and it's 36 centimeters front to back as well. So it's a little bit bigger than a normal standard size 60p. And total volume is roughly 80 liters or 20 US gallons. Now whenever I get a new tank, there's always two things that I want to do first. That's to add a foam mat as well as a background. The UNS tanks already come supplied with a foam mat, so that's great. So we just need to add a background. And as always, I'm going to use the self-adhesive glass window film. Here we go, background is done. So now let's get a light on this tank. Okay, light's done as well. This is the Twinstar S-Series 3, really powerful light. It does have a dimmer, so I'm probably not going to run it on 100%. I've used this light once before and the colors of the plants and the fish underneath this light just look really good. So super excited to use it again. Yeah, I think that's it for now in terms of the equipment. So we can start scaping. Normally I would start with the substrate first, but for this tank we're actually going to start with the hardscape. Here we go, that's the hardscape done. I'm actually being serious. I'm just going to keep it very simple and just use these two beautiful pieces of Spiderwood. I was thinking to add more rocks, but then I started thinking about the plants. I mean, if you think of crypts, especially the ones that will go in the mid-ground, they're quite big rosette plants and they need to be able to spread out. So if you have a lot of hardscape in the center and stuff, it's just not going to look good, you know? So a rather simple hardscape and then just fill it all in with plants. Now these two pieces of wood have been outside, so they're a little bit wet, but they're not fully saturated. So I think they will still float. So my idea is to actually secure them or to glue them to the bottom glass panel. As I've actually never done that before. I always glue wood to rocks. But I think this will work as well. So I'm just going to take a tiny piece of cotton pad and wedge that in between the points of the wood that are touching the glass. A little bit of liquid super glue on top of that. That should hold them down. Seems like it worked out really well. 5 minutes later and both pieces are completely stuck. That's why I love this method, you know, like cotton pads and super glue just never lets me down. So the next step is the substrate. Now normally I would just fill the whole thing in with Aquasoil, but I'm running a little bit low at the moment. But I did recently buy a few bags of this Weo Powerful base. Sounds really fancy, but it's basically just crushed lava rock. So this will just add a little bit of height in the background, and with this I can just use a little bit less Aquasoil. Okay, the crushed lava rock is in. That stuff is going to provide some height to the background. The only thing is it doesn't really have a lot of nutrients. So the next step, I'm going to add a little bit of this Danilo Plants substrate. It's just a very nutrient-rich base layer. So if we pour this on top of the crushed lava rock, then hopefully everything's going to kind of start mixing, and that should provide a lot of nutrients for the plant roots. So we have the crushed lava rock, we have the nutrient-rich base layer. Next up, I'm going to add the ADA substrate additives. I've been using this for a while now, and I feel like since I've been using them, I have less startup algae issues. Could be a total coincidence, I'm not sure. I'm just going to use them because I have them available. You don't need to use this, this is just pure extra. Okay, now we're going to cover everything with a good layer of Aquasoil. I'm thinking of using cosmetic sand as well, but I'm not sure yet if I'm going to add it now or all the way at the very end once we're done with the planting. Okay, I took a moment to think about this, but I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna add sand in the foreground, and I'm gonna add some small rocks in the foreground. It's a bit of a risk because the sand and the soil can start mixing, and I don't like how that looks, but I think if we stay away from fish and shrimp that like to dig in the substrate, I think we should be fine. Fingers crossed. So a couple days have passed, I had to wait a little bit for the plants. So I just did some small jobs like setting up the CO2 system, setting up the filter. We'll actually talk more about the filter later because it's quite exciting. But the plants just came in, so we can now finish this layout. So as always, we have amazing plants from Danilo Plants. They've been supporting the channel for a very long time now, I think more than 2 years. And I'm very grateful for that. We actually have some heat packs in there as well because it's quite cold at the moment. So we have the potted plants, and here we have the in vitros. It's quite a lot, don't worry, it's not all for this setup. I'm actually doing a few more builds later on. So yeah, we have enough plants. We have 13 different types of crypts, guys, that's insane. I basically just went to the stock list and I thought, let me just order every single crypt that's on the list. But I think that turned out to be like over 20 different types. It's like, okay, that's maybe a little bit too much. So right now we have 13. We have the Lutea Hobbit, Parva Becketti, Classic Wenditii Green, Wenditii Compact, Lutea, Lucens, Affinis, and the Classic Wenditii Brown. Then for in vitro we have the Purpurea, Justeriana, this is the Crispatula, and lastly the Pink Flamingo, super cool. Okay, here we have everything prepared. That was quite a task. So we're kind of starting from small, Parva and the Hobbit. Then we have the medium-sized and the taller ones. Here we have all the in vitros. Again, the biggest one going to the smaller ones. Oh, and I said I'm going to use only crypts, but I do have a pot of some moss and I have some floating plants as well. Okay, first crypt going in. This is the Lutea Hobbit. And together with the Parva, this one will be the foreground. This one also grows very, very slowly, so the foreground will not really change that much. Okay, then the crypt Parva. And sometimes even Parva can be quite big, but this one is nice and small, so I'm really happy about that. So sometimes I forget like how big these crypts actually grow, but if you save the label, on the back of the label there's a QR code. If you just scan it, you can just quickly check the information again, you know. So this is the Becketti. This one grows to about a height of 10 to 20 centimeters. So this one is good for the foreground and maybe better like the slight midground, you know. So I think this will be the next one. So let's try to go with some of the Becketti in the corner here. I'll do the same on this side. Next up we have the Crypt Lutea. So we just had the Lutea Hobbit, that's the small one that's all the way in the front here. Now we have the regular Lutea. So they look a little bit similar, but this one will grow just slightly taller. Okay, first in vitro going in is the Pink Flamingo. Honestly, not entirely sure if this is a good idea. It could look very weird to have a pinkish plant in here. But it could also provide some color to this layout, you know, because it's going to be very just green and brown. So little bit of a reddish pinkish tone would be nice. But it's also quite a sensitive crypt, so it could be that everything just melts and we have nothing left. I thought we were done with the crypts, but then I just remembered I had one more pot. I actually bought this one because it was not available from the Dental Plants assortment. This is the Crypt Spiralis Red. So it's very similar to the Flamingo, pinkish color, yeah, reddish type. But this one grows a lot taller, so yeah, but we'll have some sort of reddish accents in the background as well. So this is the last one. Okay, I don't know if you guys will be able to see this, but I still have some space behind the wood over here. So I think that's a good spot for the Spiralis. I don't know if this is still considered a crypts only tank if I use a little bit of moss. But I think these beautiful pieces of Spiderwood just need a little bit of moss on it, you know. Okay guys, planting is done. I love how it looks already. I love all the different shades of green and brown. And that's only going to change once the plants start growing. For example, the Hobbit is green right now, but the new leaves will be brown. So I think it's going to look completely different in a few weeks from now. But yeah, that's it. Let's fill the tank up with water. So I thought, let me just quickly do some editing work while the tank is filling up. And I almost missed it. It almost overflowed. It almost overflowed. So the CO2 is already up and running. So we just need to install the filter. And we have a very special filter. This is the new, it's not new, but it's new in Europe. This is the UNS Delta. Yeah, I mean UNS is an American company. Now the UNS products are slowly coming to Europe as well. So I think this might be one of the first UNS Deltas in Europe. I don't know, I'm not sure. And this is the updated version of the UNS Delta with the clear Aquarium tubes. So that's pretty cool. So let's get everything set up and start the filter. Okay guys, it's been almost 3 months since the start of this aquarium and a lot of things happened in that time. So normally I will release a build video 3 to 4 weeks after setting up the tank. This one just needed a little bit more time, mostly because the crypts are quite slow growing plants. No, it took a long time before this tank looked sort of finished. I still think it's nowhere near finished. I think this tank still has a lot of potential and I think it will look even better in another 3 months from now or so, but I just didn't want to wait that long before releasing this video, you know. Now you probably noticed that the tank has moved location. So last month we moved out of our old apartment, moved into a new place. And this tank is now located in my brand new aquarium studio, fish room, whatever you want to call it. The room is almost done. Just needs a few more things, but I'm really excited about it and I can't wait to show it to you guys. So maybe next week or the week after that I will do the official studio reveal. Now because of the move, this tank was also without fish for a very long time. But a few days ago I finally went to the fish store and picked up a small group of the blue-eyed neon rainbows. They're still quite small and they need to color up a little bit. But I've had this fish once before and they're amazing. They're one of my favorite nano fish, super colorful and with a really nice character as well. I think that's it for now. Like I said, this tank still has a long way to go, but I'm really enjoying it so far. I love seeing all the different types of crypts and the different colors and the different leaf shapes, and yeah, I'm super excited to see how this thing is going to look in another few months from now. So yeah, that's it. As always, thanks for watching and I'll see you guys in the next one.